You are listening to me talking to myself. Welcome to the podcast where I share useful tools to create more space, more freedom, inner peace, connection, and life on purpose. A year in review is something I do every year. It is a great tool to create awareness of all the things we have created this year and all the lessons we want to take with us into the next year. Sometimes we disregard those years where there is not a lot of accomplishment, as if they are not as important. But everything you can learn from every year makes it very important. It's very easy to keep your eyes on the horizon and your goals and visions, where you are going, and to always feel like you're never getting there. Because as soon as you achieve one level of success, you set a bigger goal. So it seems like you're always just moving towards and never arriving. And that's why it is really important to reflect back and review your year and to ask yourself, is this the year that I wanted it to be? And what can I learn from this year to decide what I want to do next year? So reflecting on what worked last year and what didn't work. What worked that I want to do more of, and what didn't work that I want to change. So let's have a look at it. How did it go? And are you a different person now than you were then? Have you evolved into more of yourself? You're still the same human, but different in the sense that you have grown in many ways. Each year gives us the opportunity to cycle through the exact same life, or to evolve and grow. And if we do not live consciously, if we do not live on purpose, if we do not focus on what we want and who we want to be, we will by default just repeat the life that we are currently living, because that is what our brain is programmed to do. Our brain is programmed to think the thoughts that it's already thinking, so it can be efficient. That will feel comfortable and familiar, and our brain likes comfortable and familiar. So the purpose of this podcast is sharing tools so we can think about our lives in a much more conscious and deliberate way, and then follow through on the actions that will deliver us the exact life that we want to create. The desires that we have matter. They are important maps to where we are going. And sometimes honoring those wants in the short term without judging them leads to a deeper accomplishment, a deeper level of knowledge of yourself. So, for example, wanting to look good may require you to really pay attention to your life. Pay attention to what you are eating, pay attention to why you are eating, to really get to know your emotional life. You will learn about sleep, training, rest. You will practice keeping commitments to yourself and saying no. So even though the end goal may seem insignificant, the work to get there may be deep and important. So embrace the idea of wanting what you want without justifying it. Make sure that you want it for a reason that you like. Does the reason serve you? When you get it, will you be served by the process of getting it and by actually having it? So the difference between living the exact same life over and over or evolving and choosing to change and grow is planning deliberately, the thoughts you decide to think on purpose, and willingness to be present with your emotional life without escaping. Because growth and change is uncomfortable. I have covered those topics in episodes 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 20, 27, 29, and 30. So looking back over the past year, we can see what thoughts, feelings, and actions we want to keep and which ones we want to change. The way that we can see it is by focusing only on the results we have created. So when you look at what are the results, what are the things that you have created in your life, you're going to see your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Because results are the effect of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. You're going to know what you were thinking and feeling and doing by what you created. So first, take a look at your results. And this will reveal your planning work and your goal work. We do not work or plan based on activity alone. We evaluate based on results we produced, not the activity. A lot of times we plan our days, we plan our life based on to-do lists and activities. These are the things that I will do. So instead of thinking about to-do lists, think about results lists. This is what I will actually create. This is what I will actually do. This is what I will actually produce. So on the to-do list, instead of saying, I will look for a new job, which is an activity, you want to put the end result of what it is you actually want to create, what you actually want to get instead of the activity. And it will let you know if you've actually accomplished the result that you're wanting to accomplish. The reason why you're applying is because you want to change your job. It also gives you other options for activities to get that same result. So, for example, if the result is, I want to have a different job next month. When you look at the results, your options open up. You can apply online. You can call your colleagues or friends if they have and know any suggestions and opportunities. You can create the job you want, etc. There are so many different ways that you can get that result. That the same patterning of how you have been living your life starts to have options. When you do this with different things, you will be amazed at how much change you can create instead of just continuously doing the same activities without questioning why or how, or if they are the most efficient thing. Just because you might not have achieved the result you were aiming for, if you did take action, or even if you didn't, you did achieve a result. And that is the result that you want to look at. This is important to remember when you're going through and looking at the results from the year before. You may say, well, I wanted to build a business. I wanted to change my job. I wanted to travel. I wanted to move. I wanted to meet someone. I wanted to become stronger, but I didn't. So therefore, I didn't get any results. No, you did get the results. So one of the results may be that you are in the same job. One of the results may be that you look the same, that you didn't start your business, that you didn't start exercising, that you didn't start meditating, etc. So you did get a result. You're always producing a result. What is the result that you produced? It may not have been the one that you wanted to produce, but what is the one that you produced? So do not think, I didn't do anything this year. No, you did. You did a lot this year. And you created a lot of results. And it's good for you to know that you are producing results because as long as you are producing results, you might as well produce the ones that you want, instead of just going on autopilot. Pick one area of your life. Start with one at a time. Pick one area of your life to look at. Look at the one area that represents the most growth or change that you have had this year, or just pick one. Here are the following categories you can pick from. Mental health. Maybe you have had huge shifts in the way that you look at the world, the way that you manage your mind, the way that you manage your emotions. Maybe you started meditating, doing yoga, maybe you healed an injury, maybe you created tools to manage stress in your life, maybe you improved your sleep. This year, I stayed consistent with my sleep, my practice, my meditation, with setting boundaries and saying no. Another result I created is me being tired and exhausted by the end of the year, which is me not incorporating the right amount of downtime throughout the year. So this is where I know I need to adjust my planning for the next year. I want to add one more day off and plan regular downtime and trips and travel throughout the year. Physical health would be another one. For some of you, it may be you got in physical shape. For some of you, it may mean that you healed your body from a sickness. Maybe you started training, you changed your body composition, maybe you're lifting heavier weights. I healed an injury I had for 3 years, which is one of my results, and I'm very happy about that. I had my consistent training. However, I did not create the physical appearance I want and going towards. So I need to adjust my training, I want to split it differently, adjust my diet, and set more specific goals and deadlines. Another category could be work. Maybe you change your job. Maybe you realize that the job you're in is not for you. Maybe you started your own business. For me, I did create the schedule I really like, and which is sustainable. I created permanent classes in studios I wanted. I taught around 800 public classes. That is the value I created for other people. I created this podcast and 32 episodes so far. However, for the next year, I would like to offer other services and in other places, to create more variety in my life and do bigger projects. Another category could be family, relationships, financial life, social life. Think about what didn't exist that now exists because of your year. For some of you, this may be a few things. For some of you, it may be a huge list. Pay attention to all the little things too. We created value that didn't already exist this way in the world. We had to become a different version of ourselves because we had never done those things before. By increasing the value in the world, we increased our personal value to our business, to our work, family, friends. And there is value that only you can create. It will be different than mine, but it will be valuable for you to offer it. So as you write your own list, take your time and write down every single thing that you created, good or bad. Right now, you might feel as if you're not growing as much as you want. You might think that last year wasn't a good evolving year for you. But you can still do the process of uncovering what you did do and what you did create so you can learn. When you do this exercise first, it makes planning for the next year so much more clear. Constrain your focus to one thing. The second part is, look at the list of your results and document any lessons that you learned that you want to take with you into the next year. What did you learn that you didn't know before that you want to take into your future with you? Think about it and learn from your own life. Here are some lessons that I learned this year from all the work that I did on myself. Do not help people against their own will. It is not help, and it will not be appreciated. It is not about me. People's reactions have nothing to do with me. People's reactions are their insecurities and projections. Say no if yes is a lie. Setting boundaries creates respect and clarity. Feeling sorry for someone is not a good enough reason to say yes. A great teacher makes complicated things simple, not the opposite. People come back because of how you made them feel. Always be a student. Listen to understand, not to respond. Let people be wrong about you. So I think the next year is going to be even more amazing now that I have those new lessons and I went through a lot of discomfort discovering them. Live your life according to your standards and according to what you know is important, and let other people be wrong about you. You're not going to be able to change their mind by living according to the way they want you to live your life. Now it is your turn. What did you create this year? What lessons did you learn this year? How have you changed over the past year? If you could talk to yourself 1 year ago, what would you say and how will you use this when planning next year? Take your time to look at what you created. What did you create in the past year, good or bad? And what did you learn? And how do you want next year to be different? If you wanted to be different, what will you do? Where do you want to be a year from now? And what is your plan to getting there? When you study last year, you will see the impact, the effect of what your brain is currently thinking. If you want to know what's going on in there, look at your life. If you want to change your life, look at what is going on in your brain. Thank you for being curious. If you enjoyed listening, rate, review, subscribe, share, and join the conversation. Do not miss out on yourself, your power, and what is possible for you.